we are doing the recipes from the NHS England Recipe Bank. We're not doing one recipe, we're doing how many?
3, I think.
3. So, yeah, good luck. And Michael's just told me he's not made shortbread for 10 years.
I didn't say that, I was just joking.
Okay, so before we get into the recipe bank, is everybody in the room aware of the recipe bank from NHS England? There's one hand over there. Can we have a raise of hands? Yep. Yeah. Okay.
Right up. I want to see him right up, though. Let me get a good eye view.
Oh, pretty
nice. Good. Like it.
Okay. These are your questions, Michael.
So the idea is, what we were doing is, who works in the NHS? Put your hand up, right up there. Yes, we all work in the NHS, and we're all proud of it, aren't we? Nextly, out of the people in the room who are a Cook Fresh site, you can see your hands, and if we could keep them up. Right, very good. So quite a few. How about delivered ready prepared meals? Not as many. Okay. And out of those delivered ready prepared meal sites, how many of you have restaurants that cook fresh? So pretty much that's the whole room. Do some sort of cook fresh. Is there anybody I missed out that doesn't do any cooking? Put your hand up. You don't want to put your hand up. That's why we started the exercise as we go. Excellent. So all of this should be mostly relevant to you. The NHS, very wide spectrum, like we've just seen there. You all do different bits. There's nothing that NHS England or anybody could really do to make a one thing fits all. So that's why we started, obviously, with the recipe bank to give you an elaborate, analysed, well-balanced recipes that you can use in any of your sites, whether that's retail or in patients, and potentially moving forward into your cook freeze as well. So that's what we're doing. I'm going to start off with shortbread with a bit of a jazz on a Christmas idea with some orange, some chocolate, some honeycomb pieces in there. We've also got a butternut squash, sweet potato Wellington, which would be great for Christmas, and also a turkey and phyllo bake, which is also a nice Boxing Day idea, a little bit leftovers of turkey. So I'm going to start these off in the oven with the hope that by the time they're ready, I've shown you how to make them as we go. Sound like a good plan?
Okay. Yep.
That's me, and my glamorous assistant is going to help me with this beautiful piece of machinery. Thank you very much. Sweet. So yeah.
Okay. So we did kind of go down the Christmas theme with this, didn't we, when we looked at the recipes? And we kind of thought it's still summer, just. But what is everybody starting to think about next? It's Christmas, isn't it? Can't avoid it in the shop, so we thought let's embrace it. Hence the shortbread.
Yes.
Traditional
made that apparently I haven't made in 10 years. That was a joke on your part. Yeah, so the idea is it's a snack. It can be used in the retail space as well.
Yep.
You'll see that I'm making this shortbread actually in a tray rather than a bowl. That's not because there wasn't any bowls. That's because I'm actually going to mix this together. Once it gets to the breadcrumb stage, I'll add all the other dry ingredients, and then I'll push it all down nice and flat into the tray, and then we can just cook straight away, rather than going through the rigmarole of using a mixer, X, Y, Z. And it's quite easy to rub together and get it to that stage, so that's sort of the reason why it looks like I'm doing it in a tray.
And you've enhanced the recipe, haven't you? You're adding some flavours to it, so some orange, chocolate.
Because on the recipe platform, it does say shortbread cookies. So we kind of thought, well, let's jazz it up a bit more, because they are a really good base. We know that using them as they are great, the recipes. So why not just jazz them up a little bit more?
Absolutely. More flavours you could put in there. Cranberries, if we're thinking Christmas.
Yeah, cranberries. We've got cranberries in our phyllo bake, actually, as part of the Christmas jazz. We were looking at potentially doing as well, we've got obviously overnight oats that we could have done with a bit of potential like Christmas mincemeat put in there, just to give it that little bit of Christmas vibe, you know, without very little extra work going into that. So there's lots of different ways.
Take care not to over-rub that.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it?
Okay, so the recipe bank that we mentioned already, if you've not already seen it, there is a QR code that's going to appear on the screen at some point. But there's been a lot of work going into the recipe bank over the last few months, so the basic recipes are on there, and since then we've developed it further. So when you go onto the website, you'll see there's filters on there to be able to search. There's tons of recipes on there, but you'll be able to filter via various different methods, so whether that's a meal type, so whether you're looking at soups or main courses or desserts. You can filter it by the allergen content as well. protein type. So if you're looking for a fish dish or something lentil-based, then that's an option to filter. It's also got the carbon rating, so the recipes on there are all carbon rated. So from low, medium, high, they're all coded on there for you. And the calories as well is another way of filtering. When you go in and find the recipe that you want to have a go with, there is an option to change the number of serving sizes that you do. So you can do a 4-portion recipe, or you can do a 200-portion recipe to meet what your needs are. All the nutrition and allergens are on there. They're on there per 100 grams and per portion size as well. And you can extract that information. You can download it as a PDF, so you can print it, download it, use it directly in the kitchen.
Very handy methods there as well. They're not overly complicated to follow. They're really quite straightforward. Even I can follow them, and that says quite a lot, to be honest with you.
Good.
So I'm at the breadcrumb stage, as we all know, we're making shortbread. So now I'm going to add my vanilla essence and a bit of orange essence. White chocolate chips. And dark chocolate chips. And once this is baked, we can just turn it straight out and cut it after. Much easier than rolling it out flat or going into a log, which also is quite a good way, but also can be quite time consuming. So once we get to that crumb stage, we just bring our hands together to start pushing it together, because we don't want to overwork the flour, because that's why it's called shortbread.
Have you ever used gluten-free flour for this?
I haven't actually used it, gluten-free flour in this recipe. Obviously using it before, I mean, it's, you know, there's no harm in giving it a go. Yeah. I can't see why I wouldn't necessarily do it, but obviously I would just give it a test first. Yeah. For sure. I haven't done that though. But that's something as well, like, if people, I imagine, you know, as this recipe bank gets bigger and the more that's getting put into it, especially feedback on whether the recipes are working in your situation and where you are, or if you've seen anything that you may want to change within it, then everybody's open to change within that, and make sure that it becomes a consistent bank that everybody can use moving forward, you know, rather than just a recipe book that ends up on the shelf and then 20 years later one of us comes in and finds it and he's still making the same recipe from 20 years ago. Not that I've seen that happen, honest. Because recipes are good, aren't they, at the end of the day?
And I believe the long-term plan is as well for trust. If you've got recipes that you want to load up to that recipe bank as well, then that feature's going to come eventually as well. So you'll be able to share all your good work and practice.
And that's it. The key of good recipes is sharing knowledge, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think that the one thing it is lacking in the menu bank or the recipe bank at the minute is that cook freeze aspect, or that cook chill aspect, you know, that people could just pick up with and go, especially if they're starting a new kitchen or they've just decided to go from, say, DRPM into fresh cook. It's got it all there for you. You can just run with it straight away. So that's my shortbread. I've got a little bit of flour around the edges still, but that's absolutely fine. It's going to help me run that out. And as I go to bake it, I'll chuck all my sugar on there, and away you go. And that's that.
And how long will that take?
That'll take about 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes. We're cooking on 180 today. With these ovens, you know, they cook themselves, don't they? Sweet. And then I'm going to move on to the next thing, which is going to be our Wellington. Once I have a little tidy up, we'll go on to there.
Done with these? Yep.
Yes, please. Excellent.
Is anybody thinking about Christmas yet? Any Christmas menus? I know my colleague Sue's got a hand up straight away. 1st of September we get that Christmas email. Anybody else there yet, or we're holding back? Some nods, yeah. Can't fight it, can we?
No.
Okay.
I booked my Christmas lunch the other day. Not at a hospital though. I should have done, but I didn't. I didn't book it in. Not quite. Right, so for the Wellington, obviously making vegetable Wellingtons can be a bit of a pain, mainly because of the moisture that we have within the vegetables. We've got no meat protein in there to help make quite a nice eye of it. So within this, the base of it is a duxelle, or chopped mushrooms, essentially with onions, garlic and thyme. We're going to have roasted butternut squash, sweet potato, and beetroot as well, which is going to be one of our binding agents as that comes down, which is cooked beetroot. It's been cooked in water, just like we all get, the pre-packed versions. But it's important that we'll cook that beetroot with our mushrooms so that all the moisture comes out of all of it at the same time, so that we don't get a soggy mess trying to put that on our pastry and it's all going to fall apart. So as long as I don't catch fire here, we're going to go. And then my glamorous assistant, is going to cook my butternut squash. If that's all right, sir. If we've got room, I'm sure we do.
So what are you seasoning this with? Are you adding any herbs, spices?
So we have got thyme. No salt, obviously. We've got thyme in here at the minute. And we also will be finishing with parsley. And I've also got flavoured breadcrumbs as well. So if you've got any leftover bread, no harm roasting that with some garlic and thyme as well, enhancing that and keeping that to the side. But that's going to really help us pull it together into a nice log that we can use to make a nice Wellington.
Fab. And what would you serve this with? What would go well on the menu, compliments-wise?
I think you've got to keep it simple with this sort of thing. You know, new potatoes, stuff like that. Again, roast potatoes as part of Christmas, or if you're doing it for a patient, or if you're in retail. I mean, chips goes with everything in the NHS, to be honest. But I wouldn't eat it with chips, if I can help it.
Okay.
Just need...
So this dish on the website, just go a bit of nutrition for you. Portion size is 390 calories, so quite a good calorific dish. Obviously the pastry adds to that. The protein is just over 7 grams, but you could do things to improve the protein. I know you were talking about adding seeds earlier to the top, weren't you? Mm-hmm. Whether you can adapt some of the recipes, add some beans, pulses in there potentially.
Yep.
Spinach. The world is your oyster, I guess, isn't it? Getting that flavour combination, but getting that nutrition.
Absolutely. Because, you know, as long as you've got that moisture in it to be able to help keep it together as a farce, then you can add anything you want in there.
Yep.
Absolutely. Sorry, I'm just having a fight with my pastry there. So we're not quite going as hot as I'd like. 12 is as high as we want. So I've started off the mushrooms, the onions and the garlic and the thyme. Now I'm going to add my grated beetroot, which again, we just want to get that moisture out of it as much as possible. I'm just going to move over to this because I need it a little bit hotter than that one.
So I don't know if people can see what's in the pan at the moment, but quite a good vibrant colour there with the beetroot.
Yeah, I like I said sort of last year, pretty food makes nice food, you know?
Yep.
And I think that it's all in the preparation. It's what your food looks like at the start. If it's, you know, wants it to look good at the start when you've done your preparation as much as it will do when it's at the end. And that's key for me. Taking pride in every piece and every step of the recipe. There we go.
Okay, so carbon rating. This comes out as a B. So it comes out low, carbon rated dish, which is really positive. So that's all on the recipe bank as well. It'll have that carbon rating next to each recipe. The shortbread was really good actually. The shortbread comes out a carbon rating of A, so very low.
Really good for you. Is that the same, I wonder, when I add the chocolate in?
Perhaps not with the chocolate. You perhaps ruined that carbon rating, but we'll go with it.
We're going with it. See all that steam starting to come away now? That's what we want.
Yep. So when you look at the recipe bank, like I said, it does mention the allergens for each dish and the ingredients. So where we've built the recipes in the data, we've used your national database of information rather than brands wherever possible. So obviously when you go back and use it in your own place of work, it's checking that allergen information is correct to the brands that you're using. So just teaching you to suck eggs, but just to mention that really.
Right, so there we go. Now, without it catching the pan, because it's quite important that within this recipe, once we're in there, we don't really want much caramelization on the food that's going into it, because that'll just kind of destroy the flavour of the product that we've got. Similarly with the butternut squash and the sweet potato in there, we want to keep it almost al dente because it's going to get cooked again through the oven in there as well. But we don't want the flavours to get lost in a mush of like stuffing or anything like that, you know. Right, I reckon we're about there on that. They look like they're right. We can finish her off. So at that stage, we're just at that al dente stage. We mix that in.
So very seasonal vegetables. Into the autumn with the butternut squash.
A very slight drizzle of olive oil on those, just to help get them going. Finish that with the parsley.
Yep.
And then I'm going to add my breadcrumbs, which is going to help bind that all together, whilst I let it cool before putting it into my pastry. And just letting that pan finish off any moisture that might be in there, because we don't want to go too dry either, because then it'll all fall apart. So you let that cool before we then mould it to put it into our pastry case or our pastry roll for our Wellington. How are we doing for time, just out of curiosity? Is there a timekeeper?
We're okay.
Good. All right, sweet. So, yes, nice, fresh, vibrant, flavoursome. Nice, that's what we like. So, in that, I'm going to start moving on to the phyllo bake. Now, in here, it is a broccoli, turkey, and leek bake. However, to kind of stick with our Christmas theme, what I've added into here is shredded sprouts, as well as the broccoli stalks as well. So there's been no wastage in that respect. So the stalks itself have all been diced up really small. We've kept the florets. I've actually used spring onion in this case because the leeks that I couldn't find weren't that great, to be honest with you. So that's what we've gone with that. And to add to the Christmas, I've got some dried cranberries as well. And I'm going to steam that in this fabulous steamer, this pressure steamer, which is going to cook that within, 10 seconds. So who wants to count 10 seconds? Any takers? No? All right, I'll do it then. Sweet. So if you want to chuck that in for me, is that all right? Thank you very much. Do. I want to give my pan a little rinse. Wow. Master blaster.
Okay, I'll talk more about the recipe bank while you're doing that. So all the recipes are a standard portion size, but they can be adapted. So if you're doing children's, for example, healthcare of the elderly, perhaps where you want smaller portions, they can be adapted. And like what Michael's done is added his own twist to them, twists and turns, which is what catering's all about, isn't it? It's what chefing's all about. So with the nutrition side of it, I mentioned that we've developed some of the nutrition on there. So we have, with the recipes, matched them with the BDA digest coding. So the higher energy coding, the high protein, the healthier choice. So all those recipes that meet that criteria are coded accordingly. So that information's on there for you. And that goes for your starters, including your soups, so your nourishing soups, your fortified soups, your sides that are on there, your desserts, everything on there is coded accordingly.
Yeah, and as long as you don't change the ingredients yourself, then all the information is accurate, isn't it?
Yep. But equally, check it locally if you're adapting recipes in your trust. Working with your dietetic steam, that really did take, 20 seconds?
20 seconds in that steamer. Look at the colour of that.
10 seconds, right.
Look at that. Magic. So we've got cream in here, which we've reduced, our spinach, our cooked sliced turkey, and all of our beautiful green veg that we've got in there as well. We don't like twigs in our food, Michael. Come on.
Is that more thyme?
That was some thyme stalks, yeah. So we've got that. We have our broccoli, cranberries, sprouts.
The cranberries work really well in there, actually. They do liven it up really well, don't they?
Yeah, the
contrast.
The contrast of colours, the flavours, the fruitiness, the textures that are in there. Lovely. Like I say, even without the cranberries, or base it as it is, it still works really, really well. And really, really straightforward and simple to put together, to be quite frank.
Any other veg that you'd put in there to give it another twist?
I think anything green is going to work.
Yeah.
I think if you wanted to, I would stay away from hard vegetables, like rock hard vegetables, but you could do a cauliflower version. You could do just a cheese and onion version, for example, or something like that. yeah, they would all definitely work. Sweet. So we're at that stage. Granted, my tray's a little bit dirty because I didn't bring the spare one. Oh, no, this is the spare one. It's not much better now because I've made it a mess. So obviously, phyllo bake. We're going to go a little bit of oil in there. And obviously, I'm doing this on a minuscule level as opposed to the hundreds and thousands that you all do. But the principle remains the same. Can we all see that all right?
Feta cheese as well, haven't we, with this dish?
Oh, yes.
Finish it off, yep.
Bit of feta. Who doesn't like feta? Until I eat it on its own. That's when I don't like feta. You put it in like, oh, that looks really nice. You go, "Nyeh." And it's not so great. But in food and baked, it looks terrific.
Yep.
And just as a poignant point, I think we're about there on this one. This is what we're aiming it to look like. I actually used A4 paper on this one just so that I could make sure it looked good. I don't know if we can get that under the camera. I can't see for myself, but that's nice. Look, lovely that, in it, whether that's in a Burlage trolley or any trolley. There are others out there, obviously, or out on a servery at lunch.
Well, that smells good.
Smells good as well, isn't it? But that turkey's been out for a few hours because we're doing a demo, so don't
eat it. Yep.
Just be safe. Terrific. So we start with one layer of the phyllo, and then I'm just going to, because what we don't want is a soggy bottom on this, we'll brush some egg on the inside, and then we're going to go another layer of the phyllo. And it can be rustic. The point is, we want these crispy edges around the outside. Kind of adds a bit of theatre to it, makes it look a bit more authentic and handmade or homemade. And then we take our first layer of our turkey vegetable mix. Now it doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to be doing about 3 layers of it. So amongst it, you will get the portion that you need as far as all the way throughout, if that makes sense.
So good way to use up leftover turkey.
Absolutely. Leftover turkeys. It is a Boxing Day sort of dinner. Do you know what I mean? I think that it would be great just to have. I mean, ultimately, we have loads of staff that are in hospital working around Christmas. They don't get their beige Christmas buffet type stuff, so why can't we give them something that would almost resemble that, if not enjoy it, you know? The beautiful British Christmas.
Absolutely. This recipe is a carbon rated medium, which is a C in the recipe bank, so slightly higher, but still good.
Still good?
Yep.
Right, now I'm going to...
You could make it plant.
Absolutely, yeah. If you've got plant-based pieces over mince, I would definitely say, if you're going to do anything, I would give it plant-based pieces over mince. And obviously there's plenty of them out there that you can either infuse flavour into. You know, you could make this in more of an Asian style if you wanted to and put like different flavours like that along it. You know, that could definitely work. So that's our second layer. Now I'm going to go feta. The reason I didn't really want to put the feta on the bottom because it'll kind of get a bit lost. So we'll have feta on the middle and then on the top. Give it a generous amount in there. Like so. Then finish off with another layer of the feta. The phyllo, all the Fs. And then we'll brush that again with egg. And even so, you could make this plant-based as well. You don't need to put egg in it. You know, you could just use oil or anything along those lines. And again, gluten-free phyllo, I'm sure, you know.
Yeah.
All works. Then
plant-based feta.
Plant-based feta, yeah, that really, yeah, plant-based cheese, why not?
Yeah.
So, feta on the top. A little sprinkle of rubbed thyme, purely for, well, it's more aesthetics than it is anything, but it will give it a little bit of fragrance. And some pepper on the top as well. And that's that. It's pretty straightforward. Okay? Really easy, and that's what you get. I'll put this one in again. Now, it would seem, the Wellington, as we all know what pastry looks like as that comes out. It's nice and firm, no soggy bottom. I'll portion that up in a minute.
Good stuff.
So we can have a little look whilst I build the next one.
Okay.
My shortbread might be ready as well, to be honest.
So the turkey phyllo bake on the recipe bank is about 370 kilocalories per portion and 20 grams of protein. So it does meet those high protein, high energy requirements as well for the menu, which is good.
Sweet. And now, obviously, we've got that shortbread out. All the little honeycomb pieces have caramelised really nicely, and the chocolate's melted in there nicely as well. So I'll dust it with sugar, leave it to rest before portioning it, obviously. And then you could have that in a coffee shop or you could even put custard on it, I suppose. Is that good?
I guess you could vary your portion size. You could do smaller portions to go with a mousse or something.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it could do. Or just as a snack on Christmas Day. That would be lovely, a little treat. You don't want to be in hospital, do you?
No.
So that would make it a lovely little treat. Are we outside of the view? Are we good? Cool.
Okay.
Right, now I'm hoping that my pastry's not too warm and soft, because ideally we want to make sure that our pastry is cold from the fridge before we start manipulating it. So with our vegetable mix, we start pushing that together so that we can start to get a nice ball formed, or a log in that respect as well. Sort of the size of my hand, which is quite small.
I know you're using egg wash again to seal it.
I will be using egg wash in this. To be honest, is it absolutely necessary to use egg? Not all the time when it comes to this pastry, because a lot of time they're good at sealing themselves. And I am going to waste a little bit of the corners, so don't judge me on that, but they won't fit on my tray otherwise. So nice and vibrant, all the colours, all the natural flavours in there. Build it along. Probably made a little bit too much.
So beef Wellington, you'd probably serve that with a rich gravy of some sort? Or
Yeah,
sauce.
absolutely.
Do you do something similar with this?
Yeah, I mean, there'd be nothing wrong with using like a normal gravy that you would always have. I mean, a lot of trusts nowadays have just the gravy that fits all. Yep. I mean, there's nothing wrong with doing that at all. If I'm honest, if I'm being picky, I wouldn't even want any gravy with this. I think it would be just quite nice as it is.
Yep.
You'd probably save yourself a job, but, the diversity within our workforces and patients is pretty out there, so they want whatever they want with it. 5 minutes, perfect. Thank you. Sweet, so now I've got that nicely moulded there. We're going to go a bit of egg, not over-egg it. Lol. Sorry, guys. I've been practicing that one.
I think you made yourself laugh more than anything else.
As long as I laughed, it's all right. So then we take it off the edge of the bench, using the paper provided to help us fold it over. Same on all sponge sheets or puff pastry sheets. Roll and smooth out. Nice and tight. Using your fingers there to pat that down. Okay, and as I said, I am going to need to take a bit off the edges because otherwise I may not get it all the way around or onto the tray. So we've got that, got a fair bit of an edge there. Sweet.
This shortbread smells very, very good. Very sweet. Chocolate smell.
You can eat
very
that,
welcoming
yes.
On award,
on award, on Christmas Day, if you could send that up, you can make it prior, it'd be quite nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Sweet, and then I've got a little bit of excess here that you could always use to decorate the tops if you've got time and everything else. So we've got what we would call a sort of sausage roll as such. At this stage, I'm going to look to crimp the front and the sides if I can, but I've cut that a bit too short, so we're just going to crimp that over with your finger. No flour, no Paul Hollywoods, none of that jazz. We're just going nice and smooth. Cut our paper to fit, because when we go in the oven, we don't want the fan to blow over it. And we egg wash first before decorating or doing any sort of cuts or anything like that. Give ourselves a little crossover if we wish. Because we are talking Christmas. But it doesn't have to be Christmas. You could do a Halloween version if you wanted to. Do anything. Again, a little sprinkle of the rub thyme. A little bit of the pepper.
Is that pepper, did you say?
Yes.
And crushed pepper on, yep.
And there we go. Little Wellington. Off we go. Amazing. I think that kind of brings us to the end of the cooking part.
Can we put into the cooked Wellington?
Let's do that. Let's have a little look, because I'm hoping it's not all going to fall apart. Yeah, that's nice. So even that can hold it up quite nicely. It's not going to break. It's not broke, you know. And just because I'm going to cut straight through the middle. Nice.
That looks good. Lots of colour.
Lots of colour, nice and fresh. And you'll notice that throughout all of these recipes, I did aim for a dice size that's quite common within the trust within what you get, because I appreciate you're not all going to dice that, and I appreciate that you can order it like that, whether that be fresh or frozen. So that shows that even with, you don't need to chop it yourself, it will still work in pretty much any environment, and that was held together really nicely. And that's that. I like that. It's nice. Surprised myself. But it just goes to show that, you know, these recipes do work. You just got to put that little love, attention and care into it.
Yep. Are we cutting the shortbread?
Yeah.
You going for it?
I hope so. This is where it all sticks in, isn't it? I just get a big bowl of crumbs. A big tray of crumbs.
It is still warm as well.
It is a little bit warm on my fingers. Ideally, we would have left it a little bit longer to chill. But what I'll do is I'll just break a piece. Take a break.
Well done.
Do you want to eat some? Try it.
No.
Okie dokie then.
I will.
Well, when once it's cooled down a bit more, that'll be easier to come out. But even so, we've got a nice, fluffy shortbread dough. It's sealed nicely on the bottom. We've got caramelisation from the honeycomb pieces, and all those chocolate pieces have worked out nicely in there as well. Obviously, you line it with greaseproof paper as well, if you wish. And then, with our phyllo, you'll see as well that this actually comes out quite nicely. Not that you would, but you could if you wished. Slide that out if you were doing it in a different capacity. We've got no soggy pastry as such.
I don't know how well people can hear that, but it's cutting very nicely, isn't it? There's a nice crisp.
And there we've got nice, mushy, moist as well.
You can see the layers.
And flavoursome Christmas sort of bonanza. So,
Good work.
That was good. I appreciate that. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. We have one final test. Now, at the start, we asked you, did you know about the recipe bank? And we kind of got a couple of hands up, didn't we? We got a couple. So now, can I ask, who knows about the recipe bank? Keep your hands up, right? Now put your hand down. No, put them up. Put your hand down if you're not going to use it. Amazing. Now give us a wave, because I want to feel like a rock star. Look at that. They did it. I told you. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.